Morning, y'all. Rob the American here. There is a word in the watch world that elicits very strong emotions, both positive and negatives, and that word is Rolex. And folks feel very strongly about that brand. But even the one thing about Rolex is even people that don't know watches or care about watches know what a Rolex is. And I'm getting ready to share with y'all. Well, I've been invited by a collector to view his collection. And when I say it's a collection, I'm not talking about a few Datejusts here and there. This is an absolute one-of-a-kind situation that you're getting ready to see. And the other thing is with that is, I love watches, but I don't have a deep knowledge of, let me try again. I have pals who can tell you basically every reference of every Rolex ever made, and that's not me. I just love watches, so I don't try and pass myself off as some expert. But what I'm going to show y'all, even I can appreciate, and this is going to blow your socks off, so stick around. Get ready. It's going to blow your mind. All right, y'all. I am sitting with Mike Wood. Mike, thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure, Rob. Thank you for coming to my little vintage Rolex exhibition and talking watches with me.
Well, I appreciate you having me in. This is something so special. I can't believe I've been fortunate enough to come. How did all of this come to pass?
Well, I've been a passionate collector of Rolex watches for around about 40 years now. And
Wow.
I've built up a really big collection of ephemera, watches, just accessories, and it's just my life and soul. So I've wanted to do this for a long time. The opportunity arose to take a gallery space, and so this is the culmination of all of that.
Very good. And Rolex. Why Rolex?
I've just been obsessed with Rolex watches since I was a kid. I was lucky enough to get my first Rolex watch for my 18th birthday, which was this bicolor Datejust 36mm, reference 16013, and I actually chose this in preference to the Rolex Daytona of its period. This is a 6263, the Panda dial Daytona, and I thought that looked more Rolex.
So this is actually the watch that you got when you were 18.
That is my very first Rolex watch. I received it from my parents for my 18th birthday, and I chose that over this one.
Wow. So he went for the Datejust over the Daytona.
The Daytona just didn't feel like a Rolex to me. The Datejust, being a child of the 1980s, I thought the bicolor Datejust was the ultimate cool watch.
Well, I remember, and I think I've told you this before, where I grew up, most of the boys that I knew that were graduating college or university, a two-tone Datejust would have been the graduation present they would have been given, and that would have cost about $1,200. And at the time, that was a lot of money.
Yeah.
But you wish you could get a Datejust for $1,200 now.
You certainly would. I mean, this watch today is probably going to be worth about £2,500. The watch that I turned down today, 80 grand.
Really?
Yeah. But this was the one that I wanted.
Right, very good, very good. All right, so you are going to take us on a Rolex journey. So what we've done, y'all, is I've asked Mike to pull out some of his favorites or some of the most interesting that have stories behind, and he's going to kind of share with us a little bit about each one. So where would you like to start, Mike?
Well, it wasn't an easy task from all of the watches surrounding us to actually come up with 10 or 12 watches. It was a pretty difficult task. I think probably the best place to start is with this little silver Rolex here.
Okay.
This is a 1922 Hermetic. It was Rolex's first waterproof watch. It has an unscrewable bezel, so you'd have to take the bezel off the watch to be able to wind it and set the time, and then lock it back closed. And exactly 100 years later, we end up with the Deep Sea Challenger.
Oh, that's
100 years of the evolution of the waterproof Rolex watch.
Wow, that is quite the contrast. Look at that. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I love both of them. That's awesome. That's awesome. There you go. That's progress.
Well, that's my hero watch. This is the one that I wear when I want to impress people. But that's where it all began from.
Very 1922.
1922. This one is 2022, 100 years.
Good Lord. Okay, what's next?
Where do we go next? The watch that was really collectible when I was a kid was the Rolex Prince wristwatch. This particular example...
Sorry, Rolex Prince.
The Rolex Prince.
Okay.
So it's an Art Deco inspired watch. It's an oblong rectangular case. This is one of the flared case models. It's tiger stripes, so there's two colours of gold running through the case body. They were sometimes referred to as doctor's watches with the large subsidiary seconds at the bottom. Some people thought that was for a doctor to take a pulse, but the reality was they were kind of expensive, and it was only doctors and professional people who could afford them.
They could afford them. You don't usually think, well, at least I don't usually think of rectangular watches. This is more like a Reverso or a Cartier tank or something.
Made in around about the same sort of period. The Reverso is dating back to 1930. The Prince is around about the same sort of time as well. And they're just a really iconic watch.
Very good, very good.
Another one that I fished out is this pink gold bubbleback. So this is dating from the mid-1940s. 18 karat gold with the pink dial. It's a pink on pink, the original period bracelet. This was retailed by Verga in Milan.
Wow.
And it's just a really cool watch.
That's beautiful. Wow, that's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. And you said what year?
This one's going to be around about the 1940s, around about the Second World War period.
1940s.
But just such a cool watch.
Any idea what new this gold, obviously the gold watch, any idea what that would have retailed for at the time?
I don't know what the retail price, but it would have been an expensive item. You'd have to be pretty well off to afford something like that.
Very good. All right.
Jumping ahead a little bit, the first attempt at a sort of waterproof diver's watch was this Monometer. This dates to 1943. It's Rolex's first attempt at a diver's watch. It has a very slim rotating elapsed minutes bezel. It can rotate both ways. And this was the precursor to the Rolex Submariner.
Really?
Yep. This one has a gloss gilt honeycomb dial. The dial under a loop is just magnificent. The printing is so crisp and sharp, and it's just a really cool watch.
Very good.
Kind of small. It's around about 34 millimeters in diameter. Would have been waterproof to about 100 meters, but really nice condition.
And that would have been the standard size for a men's watch back in
It would have been, and as I say, this was the sort of first version of the Submariner. It then went on to, this was the first true Submariner. This is a reference 6205.
6205. Okay.
This is dating to the end of 1954, and it's a slightly beefier case. It's a little bit more substantial. The rotating bezel is slightly larger as well, so it's easier to manipulate with diving gloves. And this was the first watch they printed Submariner on the dial and fitted with the Mercedes pattern hands that we know today.
Oh wow, wow! So this is kind of the iconic what we think of.
This is the start of the Rolex Submariner. There was an earlier model, the reference 6204, but that didn't have Submariner printed on the dial. It had the pencil hands. This is the one that we would recognise as a Submariner today.
Wow, very cool. All right.
Moving on from there, I think I've got three really iconic Rolexes here. Right. This is a 1981 1665 Sea Dweller, but it was one of the watches that was supplied for use by the Comex saturation divers. So Comex was a French diving organisation, and they were very heavily involved in undersea exploration. This watch would have been worn by a saturation diver working in the oil fields off Aberdeen in the north of England.
Wow. I know you think you said 1981?
1981.
We think that, to me, that's not vintage. I remember 1981 very well, but I'm old like that.
That was over 40 years ago now.
And you would have bought this new at a Rolex?
No, this could not be bought in a Rolex store. This was actually privately supplied to the Comex diving organisation.
Okay.
These weren't available for retail sale.
And now these are very collectible?
They are very, very collectible.
Wow, okay. All you Comex fans, there you go.
The one that's sitting next to it, this is a 1977 British military issued Rolex Submariner, sometimes referred to as the Mill Sub. This is a reference 5517. It was a unique reference that was allocated purely to the British Ministry of Defence. This watch would have been issued to Army personnel. It's a W10 reference on the case back, and this is in full spec configuration. Today, the value of this sort of watch is probably going to be in excess of £300,000.
Oh my God! Wow!
This is one of 150 pieces. It's a rare survivor in original condition.
Very good. Very good. All right. Very cool.
Going slightly earlier, this is a 1967 Rolex Sea Dweller. It's one of the double red dials, but this is a very early one. It's a Mark I patent pending example. So this was when the helium gas escape valve was just developed by Rolex, and they incorporated it into this watch. And they pushed the watches out onto the market before they had the patent in place for the helium gas valve. So the case back is inscribed patent pending. Right. The dial is really cool on this. The red writing that we know on the later 1970s watches, this is a very early pink printing on the dial, which makes it very cool.
Oh my God. These are, I mean, you really, again, this is, now, my watch pals, and I said this at the beginning of my video, they know these references. They don't even say the model names. They'll just say it's a reference, blah, 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 blah. And they all look at each other and go, oh, yeah. And I'm sitting there like a dummy just thinking, okay, somebody want to explain that to me. But this has become, I guess, Rolex collecting and all of that has become, when did Rolex become the thing or the watch or the, and I said this at the beginning of my video, everybody knows Rolex. Even if you're not into watches, even if you couldn't care less, they go, oh, that's a Rolex. When was that, from the beginning, or did that evolve over time?
Well, just going back to where you started there, I speak that language. I know the fine nuances of these dials and the reference numbers and things like that. And it's really an anorak, nerdy type of thing. I try to remember to speak in English so that people can understand when I'm talking watches.
We appreciate it.
But what you're saying, I mean, in the 1960s, Rolex wasn't a fashionable brand. Omega was the watch that people wanted to own and wear on their wrist.
I've looked at a lot of Omegas, and I think most people's grandfathers and fathers of a certain age had Omegas. They all had Omegas, like the Pi Pan dials and things like that. Those were the Those were the watches.
Well, the Omega Sea Master Divers watch from the 1960s was a hugely popular watch. The Speedmaster, which of course went into space in 1969.
Of course.
It's an icon. I think Rolex's sort of golden period started in the early 1970s and into the 1980s. Today, I mean, they're just a global powerhouse. I mean, in these early days, these watches really were quite almost primitive compared to some of the modern watches.
Right.
But they were very reliable timepieces. Rolex didn't try and overcomplicate them. They kept them simple and very functional and long-lasting, which is why we've got some watches here that are sort of 75 years old and they're working strong.
And today, I mean, like I say, Rolex they control so much of the market, and
there are many haters of Rolex. I'm not one of those people, as you can see, but yeah, if you cut my wrist, I've got green blood.
Well, and I don't think it's the watches that people are hating on. Sometimes it's difficult.
It's the image, I think.
Yeah.
I think Rolex suffered from the 1990s onwards with the yuppie image where flash salesmen would
the Wall Street days.
Most definitely so. And I'm afraid to say I kind of buy into that with my original bicolor Datejust, but yeah, I tend to prefer the tool watches now, which are more toned down.
Very good.
But still part of my passion.
All right, Mike, where do we go from here?
Well, from here, I'd probably like to take us on to the GMT-Master. This is a watch that Rolex introduced in 1955. It was mainly for use for transatlantic pilots, people who are frequently traveling between different time zones. And it incorporated the 24-hour pointer with a rotating calibrated 24-hour bezel, so you could simultaneously set the watch to show two different time zones. This is one of the early examples with the Bakelite Bezel. The dial's got a really nice caramel brown colour, which is really popping in the natural daylight. A really cool watch. From the 6542 reference, we went on to the 1675 GMT Master. You're wearing one of the early ones from 1961.
This is one that when I was here with Mike last week, I saw this. Let me take this off and I'll show you. I saw this in the glass, and for some reason, this one just hit me. This is the one I thought, yeah. If I was going to steal one from Mike, this would be the one that I'm going to steal.
I will be frisking you before you leave for today, Rob.
Probably a good idea. Good idea. And what was the reference number on this, you said?
So this is a 1675. It's one of the first classic GMT Masters that we know today. It's very similar in design to the watch that's still currently produced, albeit the latest model has the ceramic bezel and it has the sapphire crystal. Right. On my wrist, I'm actually wearing the 18-karat gold version of the same watch. This one is dating to 1977. I think you could say this is going to be the Concorde pilot's watch. So 18-karat gold on the Jubilee bracelet, just a real ingot of a watch.
What's the reference number on this?
Again, this is a 1675. This one has the nipple dial where there's the tiny gold ring hour markers. This is a really cool watch.
It's absolutely spectacular.
Probably not one to wear around London, but
you know what? I'd wear it. I'd wear it. Damn them. Very good.
Moving on from there, I'm going to take us back in time to the Second World War era.
Okay.
I have a really cool watch here, which is dating to 1942. It's the first Rolex Oyster Chronograph. This is a reference 3525. This particular watch, the original owner was a prisoner of war who was captured in 1941. He was one of the very first Anzac prisoners of war. He was interned in the German prisoner of war camps, and he actually ordered this watch from Rolex. It was supplied in 1942 in a Red Cross parcel, and basically this was his watch that he chose to wear throughout the war. He would have received the watch along with an invoice for the purchase price and also a hand-signed letter from Hans Wilsdorf,
who was the founder of Rolex.
Founder of Rolex.
Yep.
And he would congratulate Captain Eric Blow on his purchase of a Rolex Oyster watch.
Wow.
He would have said, we enclose the invoice, but we wouldn't dream of asking you for payment until the end of the Second World War. So this guy got a free Rolex watch to wear throughout the war. As far as we know, nobody ever defaulted on that, so I don't think Rolex would have actually said, but it's a cool thing.
That's fascinating. How did you come by it?
This watch, I believe, turned up in New Zealand on their equivalent of eBay. Somebody actually contacted the vendor and said this really is a very valuable watch. The guy who owned it flew across to London, sold it to a dealer in London who contacted me knowing that I had to have this watch in my collection.
It's got Mike's name written all over it. Very good. Okay,
I think it says victim across my forehead.
We would say sucker.
Maybe so.
But you know what? I gladly have that on my forehead to have some of these.
Moving on from there, I've selected this watch. This is the most complicated watch that Rolex produced in the early 1950s. This is the watch that's sometimes referred to as the Jean-Claude Killy. It's a triple calendar watch with a 3-register chronograph. So there's little windows under the 12 o'clock position to show the day and the month. And then it's also got an outer date pointer running around the outside of the dial, and there's a little blue hand that points the date. It was named after the famous downhill skier Jean-Claude Killy, who was one of the early brand ambassadors for Rolex. He used to wear an example of this watch, and the name stuck.
Wow, very cool.
This particular watch, it originated from Guatemala. I had wanted one of these for my collection. I put it out as an advertisement on timezone.com many years ago. Somebody responded, said his uncle had previously owned this watch and he'd be willing to sell it. So we had a little bit of a haggle, and I flew out to Miami to meet the guy.
Oh, very good.
We concluded the transaction.
Well, you get a trip to Florida and a cool watch.
I had to pay his trip as well. He turned up in a Mustang convertible. I was in a high Focus, but the guy had style.
Oh, very good, very good.
Going on from there, we must make mention of this iconic Rolex Daytona watch. This is, of course, the Paul Newman Daytona. This one's dating from the mid-1960s with the exotic 3-color dial. It's a black background, a red minute track around the outside, and then the white sub-dials with the stylized figures in there that has become synonymous with Paul Newman.
What's the reference number on this?
This one is a reference 6239. It's the same reference as the watch that was originally owned by Paul Newman, which was subsequently auctioned in 2017 for just under $18 million.
God bless. Now, is it my imagination, or is the case smaller than the current reference?
These are a lot smaller than the current Daytonas. This one obviously is a pumper pusher, so it hasn't got the screw-down pushers on there. It's actually the watch I prefer to wear. I find it a very easy chronograph to operate, and I do wear this watch quite frequently. It's really an icon.
100%. I know when my watch pals came in to see your thing, they basically saw this and just couldn't pass that. I
thought I'd better not start with this one because we'll just lose the audience.
out of pure joy. Very good.
Going over to another quirky example, this is a simple Rolex Air King watch, but on the face of it has the Domino's pizza logo.
Oh my God! Let's see if I can get focus on that. All right, now what's the
this
story?
This particular watch was a watch that was gifted by Domino's Pizzas to one of their employees. It was a very American corporate gift type of thing.
What year?
This particular watch is dating to 1999.
Okay.
They were all supplied through the American jeweler Schlanderer. They had the contract to supply Domino's Pizzas, and they were the Rolex agent that sourced all of these watches for Domino's. I never believed these were supplied in the UK, but this particular watch belonged to the manager of the Domino's Pizza restaurant at the Blackpool Fun Fair. In 1999, he hit his turnover target of £1 million, and he received this watch as a thank you gift. He immediately jumped in the car, drove down to see me, and I bought the watch off him for £3,000. It's never been worn. It's complete with all of its box documentation, and it's a brand new watch that's nearly 30 years old.
You probably get a pizza with it too, if you. Yeah. I would hope so. That's awesome.
I'd like to think so.
Very good.
Maybe I should try wearing it at my local pizza restaurants.
100%. You should go in there and flash it. Flash it. There'd be free pizzas for the rest of your life.
I'd like to think so. No conversation about Rolex watches would be complete without mentioning their slightly junior brand. This is a Tudor Submariner.
Tudor. Everyone knows I'm a huge fan of Tudor.
I'm a big fan of Tudor as well. Tudor actually date back to 1926, but Rolex really started to use the Tudor brand name from 1946 onwards. Somewhat unfairly, they were sometimes decried as being the poor man's Rolex watch. They used the same cases, the same bracelets, but the movements that went into the watches were bought in. They were made to Rolex specification. They're not a substandard product, but the watches were a lot more affordable, and it meant that Rolex could actually hit two sides of the market at the same time.
Sure.
The Tudor was the more affordable alternative, the Rolex was the premier prestige.
Didn't they share parts and movements and stuff at some time?
It wasn't so much the movements. The movements were generally sort of manufactured and bought in, but the cases and the bracelets were generally a Rolex product.
Right, very good, very good. I love the blue bezel.
This is one of the Snowflake watches. It's got the date on there, but it's got a really beautiful blue dial and a blue bezel, which is sort of nicely faded and aged, and it's just a very appealing watch.
I think this looks as sharp as most of these Rolexes, 100%.
I really enjoy this, and I'm kind of pleased to say that the head guy at Tudor wanted to buy it off me for many years, and I couldn't let it go from the collection.
That shows you how Mike's control over the market these days. All right, Mike, I see you place some different items in front of me that are not watches, but I assume they're all Rolex-related trinkets.
These are all Rolex-related trinkets. As you can see, looking around the exhibition, I do very much enjoy collecting anything that's associated to Rolex. This was a cool find a number of years ago. This is a silver cigarette box. It's dating from the year 1917. The initials that are inscribed on the front are AJD. This was Alfred Davis, and it was actually Hans Wilsdorf, the founder of Rolex, who presented this silver cigarette box to his business partner Alfred Davis for Christmas. It's a really cool thing. It turned up in a little provincial auction. It was being auctioned by Alfred Davis's daughter. It's had a hard life. It's a little bit battered, but it's just such a historic piece to me. The fact that Hans Wilsdorf handled this and passed it on to his business partner, it's just such a
historical.
A historical.
I'm surprised this wouldn't be in a Rolex museum.
I think it flew under a lot of radars, and I managed to secure this for very little money. But I just think it's such a historic piece.
That's amazing.
I think in reality this should be with Rolex, but
well, they can come begging, and then you can think about it. All right, what else?
Moving on from the cigarette box, this is a little limited edition booklet series. There were 4 booklets in this little folder, and this was Hans Wilsdorf's autobiography. He published it in 1946, explaining his background life and the formulation and foundation of the Rolex watch company, the introduction of the Oyster. There were 1,000 limited edition numbered sets of this book published. I've actually got 5 in the cabinet over there, so I've only got 995 to find.
Is that right?
It might be a little bit tight, but they should come out. And it's just a cool little set.
Oh, very cool.
Spread over the 4 booklets, and it just explained the foundation of the Rolex watch company and Wilsdorf's early life.
Wow. Very cool. All right. What else?
Going on from there, I'm a passionate collector of Rolex watch boxes. This particular example in the sort of burgundy velvet, it was made for the American market. It's a little Rolex Oyster presentation box. It's going to be around about the 1940s. It's just such a beautiful thing. I used to buy these on eBay for around about £100 to £150. These same boxes today would probably be £600 plus or minus.
Wow!
But they are just such beautiful little presentation.
That
boxes.
is absolute. That would be so special to see, to have it come in something like this.
Most definitely, yeah. If you walked out of a jeweler's shop with this little box and a watch inside, you'd be real proud of the moment.
Okay.
Again, on a similar sort of line, I was passionate about Rolex Prince watches, and the boxes were quite magnificent as well. This is what they call a shutter box. So this actually has a little stand on the back of it, so you could actually put it at the bedside with the watch in it, so you could almost use it as a little display stand.
That's very cool.
To hold your watch. The value of these boxes now is anywhere from £2,000 to £3,000. So in years gone by, the watches were actually less expensive than that, and now I can barely afford to buy the boxes.
You pleading poverty with all this, surrounded by these watches. You're not getting much sympathy from me or the folks back home.
I'm afraid not. Rolex has always been very good at giving away gifts. Retailers who attended the Swiss Watch and Jewellery Fair, the Basel Fair, which is now Watches and Wonders, they would have actually been gifted little trinkets to take away as keepsakes. This is a sterling silver loop.
Sterling.
Yep. So it's a solid silver loop. It was a gift given by Rolex to some of the Rolex jewelers who attended the Basel Fair a number of years ago. This is quite a recent acquisition. I'd always wanted one of these for my collection. It is in slightly used condition, but that means I can actually use it myself and not have to worry about it.
Very good.
Again, along a similar sort of line, this is an example of a Murano glass model of a Rolex winding crown. So a twin lock winding crown.
So it's like a paperweight?
So it's a paperweight. It's made out of Murano glass, and these have become exceptionally collectible. There's 2 of them in the cabinet over there on eBay. People are asking £600-800 for these. Wow.
This is very cool. I like this a lot.
It's a nice little thing to have.
Wow.
Back in the 1960s, the Rolex even did a little line in perfume bottles. This is a lady scent bottle. It's probably going to be dating from around about 1960 or thereabouts. You can still smell the perfume in there. I don't think it's ever been used.
Oh my God, that's
just a nice little trinket.
Stunning. That is amazing. Wow. God, Mike, that's so cool. Oh my God.
I have a couple of variations in the cabinet over there. I think the final item on the table is this very strange device here. Try and take that through customs in your handbag and you'll get some funny looks.
Well, it's sort of thermosy, but I'm sure it's not.
It's not a thermos.
It's not a thermos.
This is actually a diver's stroboscope light. It was made
Divers what?
Stroboscope light.
Okay.
So basically, this was actually a Comex flashlight. It's stamped with the Comex logo on the bottom of it. This was for use by underwater divers, and it just made a pulse of light. And working at great depths in total blackout conditions, apparently the eye can adjust to a stroboscope light and actually function far better than a constant beam flashlight. So these were made for use by Comex divers. Kind of fits in with the Comex watches I've got in the cabinet up there. And just a nice accessory to sort of complement.
Oh, that's great. Oh, thanks for sharing this. This is like a bonus. This is a bonus treat. Oh my God, very cool.
Also in the collection, I'm a big fan of all the Rolex watch catalogues and all of the printed brochures they used to make. And I also collect the watch auction catalogues. I have over 10,000 in my collection.
Oh my God.
It's a bit of an addiction.
There must be medication for this, folks.
I'm hoping so, but I haven't found it yet.
Thank you so much for having me in your
It's been
space.
an absolute privilege.
This is amazing. I really feel like you've given us a gift. I really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Rob. Thank you.
All right, y'all, that's going to be it for me today. Oh my God, we have a huge thank you to our good pal Mike for inviting us to see his private collection. That was truly a once in a lifetime opportunity. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel and leave a comment down below. What did you see today that particularly stood out? If you could have one piece in that collection, what would it be? I know what mine would be. And don't forget, my Instagram is Rob the American. That's Rob_the_American. Give that a follow and join me again for some more watch talk. Y'all take good care.